Hey guys! Alright, so today I really wanted to talk to you guys about how you can go about telling someone that you're saving yourself for marriage. This was one of those things that I was the most nervous about. I never really understood how I was gonna just sit in front of someone and be able to tell them that basically we were never having sex. Last year this time, I was like, I really don't know what that conversation sounds like. And even after I finished my purity course, I was like, I still don't get how you say that to someone. And I remember I started college last summer and just being around like my different guy friends and hearing the different things they would say, even though sometimes they would say like, oh yeah, if she didn't want to have sex, I would totally understand. I would wait. Even though they would say things like that, later on they would say things that kind of conflicted with that message. And then also actions speak louder than words. And so for me, by the end of summer, I was like, clearly sex is a huge deal. And I was just like, Jessica, you already struggling to get a boyfriend out here. Like now you're really just asking for it. And I wasn't sure what I was going to do. But then, it really hit me just that if someone isn't willing to wait, then obviously they're not the one for you. Because first off, God is not going to send you someone that's not okay with waiting for you until marriage. And then also, I just felt like I don't want to end up having sex for someone and then we break up in a few months. And the one thing that I always wanted to keep for myself, I gave it away for someone else's joy, and it was for nothing. So I was like, I'm just going to have to figure it out, stand by what I really want to do. And so I just really want to encourage you guys to do that. Stand by what you want to do. Don't let anything shake you or persuade you. But that was all a side note. More into the how you can do it. Well, like I said, it's really not a perfect formula. I feel like every time that I've been on a date or been talking to someone, it kind of comes out differently every single time. Sometimes you're gonna be in situations where you kind of already know the person. Like one guy that I went on a date, we went on a date and he already knew me, we were friends. So I was like, oh, he already knows about Pure Jess. He already knows that I'm saving myself for marriage. So at least I'm not going to have that conversation. And then with other people that you don't know so well, you'd be surprised. You'd really be surprised how it'll just come up. I just feel like in the natural flow of a conversation, eventually something is going to be mentioned where you can just kind of squeeze it in there. I wouldn't make it awkward. I would not make it awkward, and I would not make it's a big deal, but I wouldn't try to make it a bigger deal than it is. I wouldn't text him I have to tell you something important, or I wouldn't be super dramatic about it. I would really just say it direct, but just in a calm way, because it's already something that they're going to have to take in. And for some people, it's overwhelming, or it's a new idea that they have to think about, and you don't want to make it any harder to take in than it's already going to be. So, yeah. Also, I will say that each time, mostly to your face, I feel like guys are, even if they don't necessarily like the idea, I've never met someone that says that outright. Usually they're like, oh, that's so great. Or they just ask, I guess, why I want to do it. Or they just kind of have questions like, how are you really going to do that? And that's when you kind of have to have answers ready, just as far as how you're going to set boundaries and limits. So I would just say it. I would just be direct, and I would just remember that you can't sugarcoat the situation. Not having sex is one of those things that there's no way to say it other than just saying it. I remember back in January, I was having a conversation with one of my friends, and she had just started dating someone. They were girlfriend and boyfriend. They were official. And she was like, Jessica, I don't know what I'm going to do. sex, like it just keeps coming up, and I keep trying to tell him that I'm waiting for marriage, but it's not really coming out. He's not really getting it. And I was just like, oh, you can't sugarcoat it, because if you try to sugarcoat it, then the message that's going to come across might be that they have to wait a while, but they're probably not going to understand that they're needing to wait until marriage. And that's a really key, that's a key part of the whole message. I also wouldn't wait so long that you're official with the person. I would say to say it definitely early on, but like maybe like third date, maybe fourth date. Like it's definitely something that I would say early. I just wouldn't whip it out on the first date. And some people will disagree with that, but I say that I wouldn't say it on a first date because I just think, I don't know, sexual backgrounds or lack thereof, I just feel like that's not first date conversation. I just feel like I just think that's too soon. And I also just feel like for me, yes, like I am saving myself for marriage, and that's a really important part of me, but at the same time, there are so many other things to know. There's a billion other things to know, other than I'm saving myself for marriage. And I feel like because that's such a serious topic and it's such a big topic, it has a way of kind of taking over a conversation, and I wouldn't really want that to be the whole first date, like us discussing that we're not going to have sex. It's just too soon. And also on a first date is when you really get to know someone, and you might not like them for other reasons, or they might not like you for other reasons. You're so far from having sex. It's just too soon to me. I have some notes here, but I think I really touched on everything. Like I said, there's no perfect formula. I would just always be clear, and I would also just always be open for questions, because sometimes people, like if you're like, oh, this is a purity ring, or oh, I'm saving myself for marriage, like sometimes people don't really understand exactly what that means. So they might just have a lot of questions, and you have to be willing to answer those questions, because communication is key. I hate to say the word rules, but if you really start dating someone and you're serious about saving yourself for marriage, there's going to have to be rules and boundaries and limits, and there's going to be situations that you guys can't be in, or things that you have to not do. So you just have to be ready to just say those things. And usually the whole conversation, like once you say that you're saving yourself for marriage, like that's where the conversation goes. So I would just be ready, and also just be ready, and just stay calm. And even just sometimes explaining it to friends and people who have and will never have anything to do just, with my sex life or anything to do with me romantically. Even explaining it just to anyone, I feel like people get sometimes they're just so judgy, like, oh, I don't really think that's going to happen. I don't think you're going to be able to do it. Or they're just going to have like just condescending things to say, or just statements of doubt over your life and what you want to do. And you just, like I said, you just have to stay calm, just stay firm in what you believe, and just answer the questions, because it's one of those situations where maybe they don't understand it now, but they might understand a little bit more of what you're trying to say and why you're trying to do it in the future. And also, you just have to take into account that a lot of people are having sex before marriage. And so in a conversation, they're not going to want to sit there and be like, yes, having sex before marriage is not a good idea. You're right. Because if they say that, then when they look at their own lives, sometimes they might feel guilt or shame or regret. And those are all sticky, bad feelings. No one really wants to feel that way. So sometimes someone might be denying what you're trying to do just because they're trying to deny it for themselves. So never take anything too personally. And after you tell someone, or after you tell a guy you like, you know, if they don't call you, or they don't really want to continue the relationship, like I said in the beginning, you just have to think bigger picture, like that they're not the one, and that relationship wasn't going to be right, and just find a way to be okay with that, because there's always going to be another guy, there's going to be another relationship, and you just can't dwell on those people who don't want to be on this walk with you, because that's okay. Everyone has different things that they want to do with their lives, and that's why you have to be okay with what you decided to do with yours. So yeah, I hope this video helped you guys. I know there's no perfect formula, but hopefully this just gave you some good ideas and a good picture of what you can do, and some other things that you can look forward to facing. And I'll definitely see you guys here tomorrow for Rose Discussion number 3. If you like this video, make sure that you share it, like it, tell your friends about it. And also, if you have any extra questions about how you go about telling people you're waiting for marriage, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Hey guys, so I just watched the video back, and there were 2 more things that I kind of wanted to make a little bit more clear. One of those things, whenever I was mentioning all the rules you were going to have to make, and the limits and the boundaries, I just feel like it just sounded so negative. And I just want you to know that even though those words sound negative, they're not. And not only are they not negative, but they are necessary. In order to save yourself from marriage and be in a relationship, you're going to have a lot of discipline, and there are going to have to be clear boundaries set, and just situations that you're not going to get in, things you're not going to do. You just have to be clear about them. So don't let those words scare you, because I remember even myself, I was like, ew, boundaries. Like, I just used to sit sometimes in the purity class and just look at them like, what do you mean? Limits? I don't want to limit anything. Rules? Like, no one likes rules. So just like I said, all those things, yeah, they do kind of sound terrible, but I would just not be afraid of them. I would just keep that end goal in mind. And then also, whenever I was talking about being direct, there's reasons you want to be direct, and there's a lot of reasons why you want to be clear. Because if you're saving yourself for marriage and you're telling that to someone and they don't believe you, or they don't really take you seriously, then once you get in the relationship, because they took what you were saying as a joke, it's just going to cause so many problems. And you can't really blame that person for taking you as a joke if you said it like you weren't serious. So just make sure you're clear. There's reasons you have to be direct about some things. And like I said, keep it calm. Just because you're being direct doesn't mean you're saying it with an attitude, or doesn't mean you're saying it in an angry way. I'm just saying you just want to make sure that you're serious enough that they really do see that this is something that's going to happen. And yeah, so hopefully that cleared some things up for you guys. Definitely thank you so much for watching this video. And like I said, I'll see you guys tomorrow.